dahil natin yung governor ninyo, outstanding congressman yan. Pagka tumayo, si Congressman Day Cifuentes, lahat nakikinig. Dahil, hindi talaga. Dahil, I remember one of the debates was on divorce, if you remember. And all the lady congressmen stood up. And that, doon sabi ko, ang gagaling nito mga ito. It was again, and that was, kaya nga, hindi ko na sasabihin yung what year that was. That was in last Congress, ano hindi ba? And that is why, nung naghihiring kami sa Senado tungkol sa BBM, nung hearing para sa mga local executives, ay isa, again, once again, was outstanding na kanyang comment. Dahil hindi lang nag-criticize, hindi lang sinabi, ayaw namin ito, hindi maganda ito. Kung hindi sinabi niya na meron siyang mga very concrete and very constructive na suggestions. And that's the reason I'm here. But before I go on, yung aking partner sa Kongreso, at pinag-uusapan ng masisila ng usapan namin dahil siyempre maraming mga issue na hinaharap kami and kung anong gagawin sa House. Ang aking tukayo, the Congressman Ferdinand Hernandez, who is has been able to join us. Ating mga butihing mayor na nakarating dito, the members of the Sangguniang Panlalawigan, vice mayors, all the provincial officials, ating mga government employees, my fellow workers in government, good afternoon. Magandang tanghali sa inyo. The reason that I came here was noong nag-hearing kami, there was a hearing in the Senate on BBM. Pero yung hearing na yun, ang inimbita ko, lahat ng concerned local government units ang kanilang chief executives. So, mga governors, mga city mayors, mga capital city mayors, lahat ay inimbita ko. At doon sa aming naging hearing, marami kaming narinig. Ang una naming narinig is that hindi ngayon lang kami kinonsulta dito sa buong proseso ng pagsulat, pagpirma sa comprehensive agreement at pagsulat ng BBM. Kaya sinabi ko, pakinggan natin ang mga local government units dahil kung ano man ang na-decide sa Senado, sila mag-implement. It will still go back down to the local governments. Even those within the ARM, those within the Bangsamoro, it will still be the local government officials who are going to have to implement, who are going to have to live with this law. Kaya it's very important na malaman mo kung anong iniisip at kung ano ang mga suggestion ng ating mga butihing, mga local chief executives. And I have to say that hindi naman na-disappoint ang committee dahil marami naman kami. Kaya ako talaga ang tendency ko lagi local government. Dahil ang mga tiga-local government, hindi kagaya namin sa legislature, na hindi pwedeng pa-speech lang. Ang local government, ang governor, ang mga mayor, hanggang sa barangay officials, ay kailangan magpakita ng kanilang gagawin, ng may ginagawa. Hindi sila pwede pangako ng pangako dahil alam ng tao kung naging totoo. And that's why I always depend on local government officials for many of the ideas dahil practically kailangan minsan meron kami mga batas na dumadating sa local government. Sinasabi ko sa mga kapwa ko senador, sabi ko, maganda maganda sa papel, magandang pakinggan, pero it will not work on the ground. And these are the reasons why. And I'm happy that I was governor for 9 years, kaya naintindihan ko naman ang issue sa local governance. In any case, back to the issue at hand, which is the Bangsamoro Basic Law. What I'm doing, kaya ako nandito, is I'll report to you kung ano yung mga nangyayari, kung nasa na tayo. But equally importantly, I need to hear from you because your governor gave us just a little, she spoke for only 20-30 minutes. And I was curious to hear, to see what are the details behind, kung ano yung mga paano niya, how did she come to that position? And that is very important. And that's why I came here and I asked to see, again, local government officials, anybody who has something to say about this. And the reason I am doing that is, once again, to give you a time and to give you a report. Ay, unang-una, natapos na namin last week, natapos namin ang hearing process sa Senado. Hindi nakatapos ang hearing for the BBM. Kaya ngayon, nag-adjourn na kami. We are now going to, in the Senate Committee on Local Government, we are now going to begin the process of writing ililista na namin yung mga proposed amendments. Many of the proposed amendments on the draft BBM. In fact, nung nagulat na ako, nung sinabi ko, I will issue a substitute bill, maraming nagalit kagad sa akin. At sinasabi, bakit? Hindi, ibig siguro, akala nila, tatapon ko na yung BBM at gagawa ko ng sarili ko. Well, that is not, just so that the explanation, para marinig rin ng mga media, the explanation of the technical description of a substitute bill is any bill that contains any new proposals that were not found in the original bill. So, ang substitute bill, kahit isa lang ang palitan namin na proposal, maglagay lang kami ng isa, that is a substitute bill. So, ang sinasabi, ang paliwanag ko na, yung na-approve sa House, na galing sa Palasyo, that is also a substitute bill. Dahil meron silang proposal doon na wala naman sa original na BBM. So, people should not be worried that basta pinapaniwala yung draft BBM. As a matter of fact, pag sinusulat yung substitute bill, nandyan is based on the original. Nandyan yung draft. Ito, anong gagawin natin dyan? Palitan natin, ito ilagay natin. Ito, huwag mo nang galawin yan. O sige, as is, etc., etc. And then, what we write, siyempre, aayusin namin. So, the language, as we call it in Congress, according to style, para pagandahin naman ang lingwahe, and that is the substitute bill. But there are many amendments that need to be looked at very carefully. Because the constitutional infirmities have been very clearly identified. They have been clearly identified, one, by the Committee on Constitutional Amendments and Revision of Laws, which is chaired by Senator Miriam Santiago. Yun yung alam naman natin, napakadunong at na abogado at saka judge, naging judge siya, si Senator Miriam, at napakaganda yung kanyang committee report. Maliwanag na maliwanag ang kanyang ililista na mga constitutional infirmities. Na kung hindi ayusin, ay pag na-challenge sa Supreme Court ng BBL, matatalo ito. Mangyayari kagaya ng MOA, yan sinasabing papapasura. Wala nang ibang mangyayari dyan. So we have to address those. But I have divided the Bangsamoro into 4 main subjects that need attention. Of course, number 1 are the constitutional subjects. The identified constitutional infirmities. Because kung hindi maayos ang constitutional infirmities ng batas, kahit anong pang gawin namin, ibabasura, matatalo sa Supreme Court yan. So, baliwala yung ating ibang ginawa. So, we really have to attend to the constitutional problems. Several bodies have already given an opinion as to which are unconstitutional. Like PhilComsa has identified, I think, 36 different grounds, 36 different provisions that they think are unconstitutional. The IBP has done the same thing. In the committee of Senator Miriam, marami siyang very basic constitutional problems. So those have to be addressed. Some are debatable, some are very clearly unconstitutional. So that's something that we have to do. The second subject that's very important that kailangan natin maintindihan is the power sharing. The power sharing between the Bangsamoro government and the national government. You'll take note that in the Bangsamoro Basic Law, they never refer to GOM. I don't know if you noticed this. They never refer to the national government. They only refer to the central government. That is a subtle but important difference. Because national government implies that overarching. Yan ang superior na government. Wala nang iba. National. Hindi, wala namang international na government. So, that is the superior. Central government merely means that they are at the center of the bureaucracy. That doesn't mean that they are supreme. Whereas national means this. So this immediately, just from that definition, meron ka ng pinagpapantay talaga. There are many provisions in the Bangsamoro Basic Law that allows the Bangsamoro Parliament to amend or repeal laws passed by Congress. Eh, paano naman yan? The highest legislative body in the state are the two houses of Congress, the House of Representatives and the Senate. Hindi naman pwedeng sabihin na kahit anong gawin nila, pwede nilang palitan. So, that's when you become this, ninervous yung ating mga local government officials. Kanina sinabi ko may provision sa Bangsamoro Parliament, sa Bangsamoro Basic Law, that the functions and the powers of local government officials and local government units as granted by, as specified and granted by the local government code are guaranteed except in the interest of good governance, wherein the Bangsamoro Parliament can pass a law that will amend those powers and functions. In other words, inamendahan ang local government code. Now, that's not the only instance, but that goes to show na pinagpapantay talaga. And these are things that are constitutionally unacceptable. So we have to aayusin natin yan. Aayusin natin yan. So that is on the power sharing. The power sharing is even concerned with the shared national wealth. And then, of course, a very contentious issue tungkol sa police, tungkol sa armed forces. Dahil yung Bangsamoro Police ay sumasailalim sa Chief Minister, ay sinasabi namin, hindi pwede yan. Isa nakalagay sa batas, nakalagay sa Konstitusyon, isa ang police force. Ang headquarters na sa Krame, at ang namumuno dyan ang Chief PNP. Na wala pa tayong Chief PNP ngayon, pero ang namumuno dyan ay ang Chief PNP at ang utos ng Krame kailangan sundan ng lahat ng pulis. And yung Chief Minister, ang sinasabi nila that the operational control is handed to the Chief Minister, like any other local government official. Sabi ko, hindi totoo yan. Hindi namin pwedeng orderan, kami, governor ako, hindi ko pwedeng orderan yung police. Kung sinabi ng commander na, huwag mo susundan, hindi dapat siya sumunod. Hindi siya susunod sa local government official kung hindi susunod sa commander niya. Susunod siya sa CPNP. So, kailangan yung Bangsamoro Police ganun din. So, yun ang gagawin namin. Suggestion now was that it is the enhanced regional office. The other contentious of power sharing is the provision that says that the armed forces of the Philippines needs the permission of Bangsamoro government bago makapasok sa Bangsamoro territory. Eh, paano naman yun? Armed forces of the Philippines they are there to protect and defend to enforce the peace and defend the country. Pagka may gulo, pagka may ganyan mga sinasabing coordination, nakita naman ninyo sa mga hiring sa mga sapano, mukhang nabibisto yung kanilang plano, kaya hindi maganda naging resulta ng kanilang mga ginagawang mission. So that is the kind of issue in the power sharing. The third part that I'm talking about is the administrative. How do you administer what they have? Number one, ang Bangsamoro Basic Law, hindi talaga maliwanag. Kung hindi ko sinasabing tutol ako, I'm not saying that I oppose it. I'm saying it doesn't tell you what the offices are, what are the functions, what are the sino, all of these things. Now, sa administration, naging komplikado pa pagka sinama natin yung opt-in. Kasi kung ang LGU, halimbawa na ang municipality, and the original version hanggang barangay. If a barangay or a municipality decides to join Bangsamoro, nanalo sa plebisito, saan na ngayon siya? Where does that continues? Saan na ngayon siya? Will they still belong to their old mother province? Will they still, or they belong already to Bangsamoro government? When there is a crime, do they run to the Bangsamoro police? Or do they run to the provincial director's office? Where do they collect IRA? There are hospitals where they, hindi imposible. Tapos, kung may opt-in provision, papalitan pa yung boundary. Magpapabago-bago every so often. Eh, di sabi namin na masyado na magulo yan. So I do not, up to now, meaning ko, I have not yet found the formula that will be able to properly administer the opt-in provision. If we continue with the opt-in provision, the administration of that is going to be chaos. Magkakagulo-gulo yan. Because nga, where do you come from? Where do you collect IRA? Where do you, etc., all the way down to the barangay level. So, those are the kind of problems. But beyond also all of that, are simply what are the functions that are mandated. The local government units have mandated positions. They have optional positions. Wala tayong ganyan sa Bangsamoro Basic Law. That we just say that this is an office that it will be reorganized by the Bangsamoro Parliament. And the reason that administration becomes very, very important is because we are giving the Bangsamoro, we are armed, the budget of ARM this year is 24.3 billion. So that's 24.3 billion. The IRA in the ARM provinces is still being given by the national government. And beyond that, meron tinatawag na block grant na ibibigay natin. Now, the problem with the block grant, it will amount to about 35-36 billion a year for 5 years. The block grant will come only from outside of Bangsamoro. It is not collected within Bangsamoro. That is why the other LGUs are saying, okay, tanggap namin na naiwanan ng Mindanao. Tanggap namin na Manila neglected Mindanao and we have to have an accelerated development. And the reason that the ARM was not successful was that hindi natupad yun. Hindi natuloy yung accelerated development kahit na marami silang pondo, maraming tulong na nagagaling sa gobyerno. So, we are trying to correct that weakness in the ARM. But again, now we are in Bangsamoro, we are giving billions and billions of pesos. There is no system of checks and balances. There is no system of sanction. Like the governors, the mayors, we can all be suspended. The governors by the president, the mayors and down by the governor, we can always be suspended pagka meron kaming ginawang mali. Whereas the chief minister does not have that sanction. The president does not have that sanction available to them. So these are the kinds of things that I'm talking about when I say power sharing and administration. Dahil hanggat maging maliwanag ito, we will clarify it. Hanggat maging maliwanag ito, magulo masyado ang patakbo ng kanilang magiging gobyerno. So that is one. The last subject that I'm talking about is economic provisions. We're talking about taxation, we're talking about monetary policy, banking policy, all of those. The other issue that comes in the power sharing is the Sharia courts. Because the Sharia courts it's not clear what their relationship is going to be with the Supreme Court. So sinasabi, balik natin, Sharia courts should only apply to those who follow the Muslim faith, and secondly, those who, these are only for private crimes. And so long as they are not contrary to national law. If that is made clear, the problem that we have with the BPL is not that they are saying that they are outside. What we are saying is that he did not explain it very well. And that is another thing that we have to clarify. That's the power sharing. But to go back to the economic provisions, the economic provisions have become very important because, for example, the taxation of Bangsamoro will stay in Bangsamoro. And all of these large amounts of money that we are giving, we do not have the checks and balances that we normally have. And people are asking, especially the LGU, kung kukuha kayo ng 1 sentimo sa pondo na available sa amin, paliwanag nyo naman kung saan nyo gagamitin. Kasi kung itatapon lang, o mawawaltas lang, o gagamitin pambili ng baril, o gagamitin pambili ng magandang sasakyan, hindi na namin ibibigay. Kaya yung magagamit namin yan. So that is applicable. We're not saying that this apply only to Bangsamoro. These checks and balances are what we use to make the government function, to make the government officials accountable. And that's the thing that we should do. Now, of course, the balance is between autonomy and control. And that is something that is the thin line that we are trying to walk. Kailangan talagang balansin na mabuti dahil kailangan na sinasabi natin autonomy. So, bigay natin yung autonomy. But at the same time, they're still part of the Philippines. We have to govern as well in their area. And to know that the services, the basic services, and the basic development plans that are the policy of government should be included everywhere in the Philippines, not only outside Bangsamoro, but also inside. So these are the kind of issues that we are facing. The schedule, as I said, is that we have finished the hearing process. I am now starting to write the list of amendments that will go into what will be probably a substitute bill. And from that, I will be able to write my committee report. So the scheduling will be July 27 is SONA. So pagkatapos ng SONA, session na kami, yun, babalik na lahat ng mga legislators, ay i-meeting ko na yung aking committee. We will go through the line by line, the process which the Congress, with the House of Representatives was not allowed to go through. Kasi talaga ang balak sa House of Representatives ay line by line, provision by provision. Pero nung na-umbida sila sa palasyo, parang nag-ibang palit ang isip. Kaya, but anyway, when they came, si Kong Tokayo, hindi kasama dun sa... hindi kaya ito naiimbita. Pareho tayo, hindi pa rin ako naiimbita. Maraming pronouncement na pupunta ako sa palasyo, pero hindi pa ako naiimbita. But I don't blame them, kasi I don't know if it will be any very useful. But in any case, the schedule is that. So when we come back after the SONA, we will then, the House will return to the period of interpolation. We will start to write the committee version of a substitute bill. We will approve a version in the committee, then we will take it to the plenary to undergo the same process that the House is going through now. So, it is impossible for me, hindi ko masasabi na matatapos ito dito sa date na ito. Kasi hindi mo malaman gano'ng katagal ang magiging committee deliberations. Hindi mo rin malalaman kung gano'ng katagal ang magiging debate sa floor. And there is also a period of amendments that will follow, approve, after which there is still a bicameral conference between the House and the Senate. So that is essentially what is happening in the Senate. And that is, but I think the most important thing that I have to say to everyone who have misgivings and concerns about the draft BBM as it has been given to Congress is that I am standing before you here today to make sure that you know, that you understand. I will not allow this draft BBL to be forced down our throats. Hindi ako papayag na imamadali itong BBL. Hindi ako papayag na i-railroad yung BBL sa committee ko. And I cannot promise that I will win every battle, but I am promising you that I will fight with everything that I have for what I believe is necessary. Again, I cannot promise that it will be a winning fight, but I will promise you it will be as hard a fight as I can put together. And that way, we can be sure that that's part of the process. That is why, mula pa sa umpisa, ang posisyon ko kagad, huwag niyo kaming minamadali. Dahil minamadali, sige, pasayin nyo na. Even the House was suffering under that kind of pressure. Doon sa Senado, hindi naman masyado, kapaka yung mga ibang senador, pero ako mukhang hindi na akong pinapansin ng palasyo, so that's okay. Mas madali kung gano'n. But anyway, that is the situation now. But now I would like to hear, just from sitting with the mayors for what, half an hour, marami na ako narinig na kung doon lang ako sa Senado, hindi ko maririnig. And that is the kind of, all of the kind of problems that can be seen by those of you who are working on the ground and who are right next now to the so-called Bangsamoro territory, to what is now ARM. So I would like to hear from you on all of that. You can ask me any questions that you want, but I would also like to hear not only my answers, but I would like to hear from you what you feel are the points that have to be made, what are the areas that you feel should be part of our discussion in Congress. So with that, I would like to open the floor to all of you, and I thank you very much for your coming here this afternoon.